Guys, I just wanted to try something new today, and I'm going to be talking about the F1. So if you like this video and it gets a lot of views, I might continue to do it. So I'm going to do a preview for this weekend's Austrian Grand Prix, and I'm going to be talking about can Mercedes challenge Red Bull and Ferrari again. This weekend because they did really really well last week, especially with Lewis Hamilton. Of course, George Russell got a DNF straight from the start, but it wasn't particularly his fault. Uh, Lewis Hamilton got P3, even though he had pace to actually win the Grand Prix. But we're gonna go through to see if he can actually challenge this weekend again, and to see if the Mercedes have fixed their problems. Um, so with this track, it's a very high altitude track, and obviously it benefits Red Bull because it's their circuit. So I have to track a couple of corners is high speed corners, especially the last corner to the before the line, which could benefit Mercedes because they're better in high speed corners as we saw in Silverstone. But there is some slow speed corners which they could struggle with. Another part is that they haven't particularly solved their porpoising problem and their tire problem because they seem to struggle warming up the tires, and they seem to struggle with the porpoising because of which set of tires they're on. It depends. It's very inconsistent. So that's going to be a big problem this weekend, especially with the porpoising and getting onto the right tire, especially in the race. Even though Mercedes do have a better race car than they do a qualifying car, which would be quite interesting. Because like Lewis Hamilton, on qualifying, he even though he was unlucky in Q3 because like the track was getting wetter, because he couldn't really put in a good lap. He wasn't really like exactly on like pole. He wasn't really going to go for pole, even though he was. I think he got like second in Q2. He got the fastest lap in Silverstone, so they do have a better race pace car. With Red Bull and Ferrari, they could be under investigation. They could be in trouble. But I think this is more for the French Grand Prix. They're the wooden plank on their floors. That has to be like the whole plank has to be like 2 millimeters. But they did it flexibly. So it's like 2 millimeters at the first half, and then it's down. So that's like reduces the porpoising, even though Ferrari do have a lot of porpoising, but Red Bull don't. So they could be under investigation as well. That could bring Mercedes back into it in a couple of races, probably not this weekend. Last season, Mercedes didn't particularly do too well, even though they did get second with Bottas. But Hamilton didn't really have good pace last season, and Max did really, really well last season. I think he got a Grand Slam. He was leading every lap and got fastest lap as well. So he was unstoppable last season. But it obviously it's different cars, different form like of the drivers. So it's going to be quite interesting, I think. Uh, I think also another factor into Mercedes doing well last weekend was probably Ferrari's strategic disaster, because they should have let Leclerc go a lot earlier than they did, and that probably brought Lewis Hamilton in it. So that's why he was gaining so much on them. Even though for some reason Sainz doesn't really have great pace in that Ferrari, I don't think he's particularly all that comfortable with it. But maybe with his first win, he might be a bit more confident. We'll see in his first pole as well. He did quite well last weekend. Um, yeah, so and also Max having issues with his car, which really messed up his race. He did actually did quite well to get any points at all, and he defended well against Mick Schumacher in the last lap. So yeah, to be honest, I think another like P3 would be quite a good result for Mercedes again. Obviously, with Ferrari and Red Bull, they're having like reliability issues. While Mercedes, even though they don't have the quickest car, they are quite reliable, and I think George Russell DNF last race is their only DNF of the season, which is very very good for that team. So that's why they're so high up in like the standings, and that's why like George Russell's so high up in the driver standings as well. So it's going to be quite interesting, but I honestly think Max will run away with it again. I don't think anybody's going to catch him. I think he was going to win Silverstone and be a dominant in Silverstone, but his car obviously broke. I think it was something. He lost the balance. He couldn't get any rear grip, so he's sliding everywhere. But I don't really know particularly what happened there. But I think Max will win. Ferrari are so unpredictable. Like Leclerc deserves a better strategy than they have. I think he's been really, really good this season, but he just hasn't been given help from the pit wall at all. And Sainz, for some reason, he's just lacking confidence with the car, and he's not really getting used to it. Obviously, Checo's having a very good season. So I think if George Russell or Hamilton gets P3, that'll be quite good, but they should be aiming for like P4 and P5 for the team. I think they could be challenging like Sainz because for some reason he doesn't have a great pace. And look, if one of the Ferraris or the Red Bulls have reliability issues, they could obviously snatch up those points, which they've been doing, I think, every single race. Because I think there's at least been one problem with, except for Monaco that I can remember, with one of either Ferrari or Red Bull engine. So thanks for watching. Hope you like and subscribe. And if this video does well, I might do a bit more. We'll see. Anyway, thanks.